Hi people, you're welcome to my channel. So in this video, let's draft and sew this beautiful dress, okay, with an handkerchief flare. So first we'll be drafting the basic bodies before we call the flare. So I'm here marking the bust point, which is 10.5, the under bust, okay, and the waistline, 17.5 for the waistline. So going to roll it out. Okay, then from the waistline I'm going to add 5 inches. This is for the Basque waistline. Okay, if you check very well, the dress has a Basque waistline. Okay, then I'll be measuring the neck width, which is 3 inches, and the shoulder measurement divided by 2. Then for the shoulder slope, I came down by 1 inch, and also I'm creating the armhole, which is your bust round divided by 6 plus 1.5. So whatever I have at the shoulder, I'm taking it also to that point, which is going to become my chest line. So I'm connecting the shoulder to the neck width, and also connecting the shoulder and the armhole together. So the distance from the bust point to where the armhole stop, that's where it's going to serve as the chest line, and I'm going to indicate with this dotted line. Okay, so this is it. Then you find the midpoint of this your armhole measurements. Find the midpoint of it. So I'm going to mark it. Then come in by 3/4 inch, that's 0.75 inches, in order to create the armhole curve properly. This is for the front pattern. So I'm labeling the lines, the bust points, under bust, the waistline, and the Basque line. So on the waistline, I'm going to be working on my dart, which is this nipple to nipple distance divided by 2. So I'm using 3/4 inches. So I mark from the waistline, under bust point, and even on the Basque line. So connect it by with a straight line first, and still on the waistline, okay. And okay, we can start from the Basque line. So I mark 2 inches towards the side. Okay, you know we have different form of princess dart, so you can go on and create the one that works for you. So just under the bust, and I'm going to use the curve part to connect it to the bust point. Okay, that means I'm taking all my darts at one side. Then on the chest line, I'm putting in 1/4 of my bust round. Okay, because we're going to be needing this. So I'm going to measure this armhole gently down to the point where I mark. Okay, so whatever it is, I'm going to divide it by 2. Then come back and locate that part on the armhole curve. So this is where divided by 2 is. Then I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch. So is this 1/2 inch now? I'm going to connect with a straight line to the bust point to meet that location. Then on each side of this line I just drew, I'm going to mark 1 inch. I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on each side. Then on the bust point, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. So I'm connecting this way to each of the 0.5 inches I just marked. So this other last one, we need to extend it, because this dart, we need to replace the dart allowance. Okay, and you know it's 1/2 inch on both sides, which is 1 inch. So that's the reason why I need to extend the other dart line. So we've created the new armhole, and also you need to go on and blend the sharp point at the bust point. Okay, so blend it properly to give us that perfect curve. Okay, so the next thing now, I'm going to put in the body measurement. So whatever I have on this dart area, you're going to add it to the body measurement, then add my seam allowance, which is 2 inches. Then on the waistline, I fix in 1/4 of my waist round. Whatever your waist round is, your waist round divided by 4, So I mark it. Then 2 inches for that. 2 inches for that. I added the 2 inches for that. Then another 2 inches for seam allowance. Okay. Then whatsoever I mark on the waistline, that's what I'm taking to the basque line. Because this basque effect is not really down to my hip. So it's the same thing I have on the waistline. Just take it down to the basque line. So we're going to connect it this way. So that is just going to be a straight line. And this part, you can still use your straight line or maybe a little bit of curve there. So the next thing now, we're going to work on your desired neckline. So the neck width, I'll be extending it to 4 inches. So I added 1 to the 3 I already marked. Then the neck depth depends on how deep you want it to be. So I think I mark about 5.5 inches. So you're going to connect it with a curve because it's a round neckline. So now if you're going to be using a bust dart or a side dart, so I just from the bust point I came down by 1 inch. So I'm going to connect it this way. I hope you can see the slanted line. So cut it out carefully and watch the way I cut the dart out also. So now after cutting the dart out, you're going to bring the pattern paper together just like this. Make sure it is well aligned and create your basque effect. It's as simple as this, guys. Yes, but make sure you remove your dart before you create the line. So now you are sure the line will be straight even after joining it on the dress. Okay. So let's work on the back. I'm measuring the bust point, the waistline. Okay. Then you connect it together. Then from the waistline, we'll go ahead and add 5 inches or so for the basque effect. Okay. Then I'm going to measure 1 inch from up to down for zipper allowance. So that 1 inch now is for the zipper allowance. Now we'll measure 3 inches for neck width and measure your shoulder divided by 2. Create the armhole curve on the shoulder slope and the armhole curve. Just the same thing we did for the front, guys. So just going to repeat the same for the back. Okay, and remember for your armhole curve is your bust round divided by 6 plus 1.5. And where the armhole stop, that's where your chest line is. Okay, then for the back, there's no need of coming in by 3/4 inch. Just create a curve simply like this. Then the neck width, the neck width has to be the same, but the neck depth can be different. So I use 3.5 inches for the neck depth for the back. Apart from the basic, you can still create whatever neckline you want. Okay, so now creating our darts, I'm going to be putting in the bust to bust distance, which is 3/3/4 inch from the basque line up to the bust point or even up to the chest line, because this is the back. And remember, we are not using under bust for the back. Okay, so now just going to measure 1/2 inch on both sides of this line. Just watch carefully the way I'm creating the dart. So it's just the normal princess dart for the back. Then from the chest line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So that's where I'm going to extend the dart to. Then on the armhole, first you can find the midpoint of this armhole. This is just a guide on how to know where exactly to mark for the back princess that. So now from after locating the midpoint, so in between the midpoint and the upper part, just maybe find the midpoint of it. So mostly I would just say locate the three-quarter this thing on the three-quarter measurement of your armhole. So you can see how I am extending this to. This is the method I use and it's been working. And make sure it's not too curved because there's no breast at the back to fill in the curve. Okay, so you're going to now extend your that just like this. Okay, so now fixing the bust measurements, bust round divided by 4, then add 2 inches for seam allowance. Then on the waistline, add your waist round measurement divided by 4, then 1 inch for the dart, because you can see the dart is just 1 inch, 1 inch for dart allowance, then 2 inches for the seam allowance. And like we did in the front, the same measurement that you have on the waistline, just transfer it to the basque line too. Okay, so that's why you're having a straight line there. Then we'll connect it this way. So from the basque line, so I'm going to deduct 1 inch, just 3/4 inch, in order to remove excesses from the back. Mostly we remove it from the waistline, but I don't know why I went ahead to remove this from the basque line. So pardon me, but even removing it from the basque line, it still came out good. But for other dresses, always remove it from the waistline. Okay, so this is the back. After this, we'll now go on and create the basque effect. So make sure you bring the line together, let the line align properly. Then you create the basque effect just like this. Remember, always remove your dart before creating the basque effect. So we'll cut it out. Okay, so this is what we have. So we'll go on now to work on the skirt part, which is the handkerchief flare. So now, working with this African print, I first cut out 1.5 inches. Okay, 1.5 inches, 1.5 yards. Sorry, I cut out 1.5 yards and cut out another 1 yard. Please don't get me wrong, 1.5 yards, then 1 yard separately. Okay, so now the 1 yard, now I went on to cut it into 2. You are going to fold it through the longest part. So now after folding it through the longest part, see the way it's giving me selvage to selvage. So you bring the selvage together. That side is longer than you cutting it, folding it the other way around. So now this is the 1 yard. So after cutting out this 1 yard, and I'm going to add it. I'm going to join it with the 1.5 yard that I already cut to. So I'm just marking the inside of it. So I'm going to pick one piece of the 1 yard that I divided into 2 and attach it to one end of the 1.5 yard, and know that it's also going to be the longest part of the 1.5 yard. So I'm only doing this in order to have a wider fabric to fold. So I'm attaching it to the other part also. Okay, so before we go ahead, this is the upper part. I went on to join it together. I joined the lining, also put the interfacing, put the breast pad. So now I'm going to measure around this down part. So I'm not just working with the waistline now. I have to measure what I have on the clothes. You can see I measure around the clothes round. So because that's what I'm going to use for the radius. So my already joined fabric, So I'm going to open it up and fold it into four. You fold it as when you are cutting a circle skirt. Okay, so I'm measuring just to cross check what I have. You can see I have a really wide fabric, just about 60 to 60. So you fold it first, 60 by 60 rather. You fold it into two first, then you fold again. This is the first folding. Align it, make sure everything is well aligned. Okay, and since we've joined fabrics together, so you might want to take your time and make sure it is properly folded. Then I'll now go ahead and fold it again. So now fold it in a way that will give you a square. You can see this is it, so that I will have one end closed and the other end open. Okay, so after doing this, I'll the measurements, whatever I measured from the upper part, now I divided it by 6.28. Okay, which is how to divide a radius for a full circle, 6.28. So whatever I got, that's what I'm using to mark this out. Okay, so after marking this out, go ahead and cut it open. Then I'm also cross-checking to make sure I have a perfect square. Make sure each end is the same. Okay, you can see some parts are not really regular, so I'll go on and trim those parts off just to give me a smooth edge. All the edges are to be smooth. So after trimming this out and cutting out the radius, so you go on and attach it to the upper part accordingly the way it is. I'm sorry, I don't know, it went off the camera how I was attaching the two together, the up and down together. So just go ahead and attach everything together. It's as simple as that. And you fix in your zipper, do your hemming. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video to this point, please give it a thumbs up. Okay, so let's draft the sleeve for this dress. So you measure your desired length. I just want a short sleeve, which is 8 inches and 2 inches for hemming allowance. So making 10 altogether. So you mark it like this. Then you measure your cap height, which is your bust round divided by 12 plus 0.5. So this is what I have. So you mark it. So it depends on the measurement you are working with. On the cap height, I'm going to fix in my armhole measurement. Okay, your armhole measurement, whatever you use for your armhole. So mine is 7.5, then 1 inch for seam allowance. And now to know your armhole measurement, you know I said is your bust round divided by 6 plus 1.5. So drawing this straight line, I found the midpoint of the straight line in order to create a smooth curve. Okay, so you might want to measure the curve also to be sure it's the same thing on the dress. Okay, then on the length, you measure your sleeve round, then add 1 inch. Your sleeve round divided by 2, then add 1 inch for seam allowance. So this is what it is. We'll cut it out like this. So now after cutting it out, I realized I would love to make this a little puff. Okay, so I already cut out the paper. So while I place it on the fabric, you leave some inches ahead. So you can see ahead of the sleeve, I added 2 inches extra. Then I mark the midpoint. So I'm going to connect it just this way. Just watch the way I extended it on the fabric and I blend it back to the actual sleeve. Then we'll cut it out. I have a detailed video on how to create a puff sleeve. So you can watch it for better understanding. Then I cut it out. So we're going to go ahead and gather that excess at the top. we'll gather it and fix it appropriately into the dress. So we'll cut out the second sleeve also. Okay, so you're going to gather it to some extent and add it to the dress. So this is what the handkerchief flare with a basque waistline looks like. I hope you find it helpful. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up, and if you're here to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe. Okay, then feel free to share your opinion in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. God bless you. Bye.